Hi, and welcome to my Messages of Joy. My name is Joy Koff, and this is an interview series that I'm doing with some of the folks that work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and across the United States. And today, my special guest is Tiffany Angel. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey!
Thanks for joining us. So,
Thank you for having me.
Tiffany, you are a tarot reader. So, how long have you been a tarot reader? And tell us a little bit about what else you do.
Okay. I do a handful of different modalities. Tarot is definitely my specialty. That's what I focus mainly on when I do readings. But I would also consider myself a channel. I also do hydromancy, which is similar to when you see the old psychics looking into the crystal ball and gazing and getting images. Instead of using the crystals, though, I use water to get the messages. I also do chakra balancing. And I teach a few courses, some in tarot, some in chakra balancing, and some in meditation and actually hydromancy as well. And I also do past life visionary, where I can tell you who you were in a past life and what things have happened to you in a past life. And if anything comes up that maybe needs to be healed or let go of, I also work with you to let go of things that might be holding you back in this lifetime. But out of all the things I offer, tarot really is my specialty. That's the one that I've just been so attracted to ever since a really young age. I think the very first time I ever touched the tarot cards, I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And I remember them being in the living room on the bookshelf. And I walked over to the bookshelf and I picked up the cards and I started looking through them and got this overwhelming feeling from the cards because they were just so interesting to me. Like I felt energy from the cards. I felt like they were something completely different than anything else I've ever experienced up to that point. And I've always just been fascinated with the cards. So it also helps that my upbringing is, my mom, who owns a metaphysical store in Lewisville, Texas. She's always been very open to allowing me to be spiritual, to connect. And she wasn't one that shut down my gifts. Unfortunately, like so many children are dealing with today. If I said I saw angels or if I said I saw spirits, she would encourage that and show me how to protect myself and keep myself. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Whereas nowadays, unfortunately, the children, they get put on medication or they get told they're crazy or they people just judge them for what they have. And really, it is a gift. It just needs to be learned how to deal with, I guess. So my whole life basically has been an upbringing in the spiritual world. And I come from a long lineage of I believe very intuitive women from New Orleans. That's where I'm originally from. And down there, this kind of stuff isn't taboo. Most of the people, they'll go to church and after church, they'll go down to the French Quarter and get a tarot reading. It's really normal down there. So it really is kind of in my DNA and who I am.
So, how long have you been doing this professionally?
Professionally, about 10 years. When I was younger, I would say in my teens, I would play with the cards and play with them with friends and do readings and had fun with it, but I didn't really feel right to charge somebody for a session until I was taught and certified as a tarot reader. So I took a course that was about 6 weeks long. And I also did continued education in different classes, intuitive tarot and things like that, to just kind of keep my perspective open to what the cards mean. But taking that one course, it really is textbook. This is what the card means. This is where it's supposed to go. I mean, it tells you everything from beginning to end on how to do a reading and how to do it properly. And then over time, when you work with the cards, they tend to start changing meanings sometimes. And one time I did, let me try this. One time I did a reading for a client and I noticed that one of the cards came up and it's a card that represents hospitalization or someone's getting sick or ill. And I would ask her, is there someone in the hospital? Is there someone that's close to you sick or ill? And she would say, no. I'm like, well, this is the hospitalization card. And she goes, well, I work in a hospital. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's what it could represent. And she was a nurse. And over time, the card now represents to me a nurse. 9 times out of 10, when I read somebody, that card shows up, I'll ask them, are you in the medical profession? Are you a nurse, a doctor, a therapist? And they usually say yes. So I know professionally for about 10 years, but then, you know, I've been kind of like on my path over this 10 years. Yeah, I think we'll just cut it there.
Okay. So, what is your motivation for doing this work? What motivates you to do this kind of work?
What motivates me, honestly, is watching when a client comes to me, their energy when they walk in, and then their energy when they walk out. And what I mean by that is most people come in and they're scared. They're confused. They don't know what's going on, and they need some guidance. They need some reassurance, and they need to have someone listen to them, you know. And I think that's what a lot of us do in this profession is we're also some sort of counselors. We might not be certified as a counselor, but we are here to help people in their lives. And so when I have a client who comes in and they're distraught about something that's going on in their life, a situation that's happening, to be able to pull the cards out and to see the outcome of what's going to happen. Now, sometimes the outcome isn't always a good outcome, but the great thing about the cards is that they represent nothing more than a snapshot in time, like this moment right here and right now. So if I see something that might not be the best outcome, I can tell them, I can show them, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to change, you know, your perspective. You need to start manifesting to go in this direction instead of that direction. And even after the reading, even if the cards say that there's not a great outcome coming, they always leave happy. They always leave with a weight lifted off of their shoulders because they now have tools. They now have what they need to overcome whatever situation they're going through. So that is my biggest, I love the accomplishment of helping people and guiding them and showing them a way to a better life or a better way of looking at things.
So, how should a customer or a client prepare for a session with you? Is there something that they should do?
Well, not really. In my sessions, some card readers will start out like you have to ask questions, you know, and for me, I kind of like the wow factor. I don't necessarily ask them, do you have any questions? Is there anything going on? Because there are really 4 major reasons why people get a reading. And it's either relationships, work and career, finances, or health. And so when someone comes to me, obviously something in one of those categories is probably off and they need some guidance in it. So when they sit down and I do a reading with them, it really is the wow factor when they're like, how did you know that? How could you have possibly seen that? It's like you knew me, you know? And so that's why I'd rather people really just come into a reading open-minded and open heart. You know, if you're coming in, you're shut down and you're blocking the energy from flowing, then you're probably not going to get a very clear, accurate reading. But as long as you come in with good intentions and an open heart and an open mind, then the reading always just flows exactly the way it needs to.
So, can you share with us some of the feedback you've received from clients?
Well, I love when clients come in and what's the word I'm looking for? Like justify. I don't know if that's quite the right word. They come and tell me basically like the reading you gave me was spot on. This is exactly what happened. I can't believe you would know that. And the funny thing is I don't remember the stuff I tell people in a session. It's almost like I tune in to my higher self or their guides, their angels, and they have a conversation with the client. Not necessarily me, Tiffany Angel, because I have clients call me back and say, you said that there was, I was going to get a new job and then it was going to be all health benefits and, you know, that I would be surprised by, you know, the sign-on bonus and all this. And they're like, do you remember any of that? Because I look at them blank face like, okay, you know, and they're just like, do you remember any of that? And I'm like, no, but hey, I mean, that's great. Good information for you. I think one of my favorite readings, one time a lady came in and she, her cat went missing and she was so distraught, this poor woman. And one of the cards showed up. I don't remember which one it is right off top. I want to say it might be the 8 of Cups, but in the picture are 2 children and they're playing and there's a cat in the background and there's cups all around them. And I told her, I said, you know, you need to put signs out in your neighborhood and maybe the library and stuff, because I really do believe that your cat got out and there's kids who found it and they took it inside and they want to keep it. And so that's where I feel that your cat is. And she came in probably about 3 weeks later and she told me, can you believe it? She said, they found my cat. And she said, and it was exactly what you said. He was in the backyard of someone's house and 2 kids were playing with him and they wanted to keep him. But when they saw my sign with a reward and everything, I got him back. And I was just like, wow, that's when I know it's not me. I get something else completely connecting there. It's pretty amazing.
So let me ask you a question. How long do your sessions last and what kind of sessions do you offer?
Well, a session I can do anywhere from 15 minutes to probably an hour and a half. I don't really go beyond an hour and a half because at that point, I think I've said everything I can. So 15 minute, 30 minute, 45, 100, you can get it in increments. I do chakra balancing, like I said earlier, but that one would start at 30 minutes just because it takes at least 30 minutes to get everything aligned and everything kind of set up the way it needs to be. So that one starts at 30 minutes. Hydromancy, I could probably go on for an hour and a half with that one as well. Past life reading, I probably go as long as an hour with that.
So where are some of the places you've traveled?
So I have traveled all up and down the East Coast of the United States. I've traveled mostly in the US, but I also do believe that, our country has so much beauty to offer and show us. It's so diverse from east to west, And I was raised in Philadelphia. I was born in New Orleans, so I've definitely been through the bayou and the mountains. I've been to Denver, Colorado in the mountains, and I love Colorado. Outside of the country, I have been to Teotihuacan in Mexico. I have been to the Mayan pyramids. I can't think of the name of that city right off the top. Cozumel.
Was it Chichen Itza? Chichen Itza?
Yeah, Chichen Itza. That's it. Yeah, I went there and saw the Mayan pyramids. And I believe, I think Mexico is the only time I've been outside the country, funny enough. I've been to Sedona, Arizona. I've been to New Mexico. I've been, like I said, Florida, everything on the East Coast for the most part.
So tell us, where's some places you would love to travel to?
Oh my goodness. It's funny you asked that because this morning I was looking on Facebook and a friend of mine posted this beautiful video of Switzerland. And it was actually titled, you're walking your dog in Switzerland. There's just big mountains and big old green fields and just flowers in the fields and meadows. And I'm like, wow. I actually got to the point where I was looking up the cost of living in Switzerland because it was so beautiful. But Switzerland and Netherlands, I think, would be an awesome place to go. And I've always been drawn to Italy. I love mountains. I just love being in cold weather. I don't do well in Texas. It's so hot down here. But anywhere cold would be nice. Would love to go on an Alaskan cruise. That would be definitely on my bucket list. I think it would be gorgeous to see the glaciers.
So how do you connect with spirit? How do you prepare before a session?
Before a session, I always put on Florida water. I use that to kind of clear my auric field. I'll rub it between my hands and I'll go all around my auric field with the Florida water. And I have certain crystals that I lay near me. One is a faceted crystal, which means it's cut in a whole bunch of different directions, so it sparkles real pretty in the light. And that one is more my channeling crystal. I always have that around because for whatever reason, when that one's around, I feel like it just helps me connect. I always start my session out with, I ask my guides, my angels, my spirit guides, masters to please come in and help assist me in this session. I say, I also ask that my clients, guides, angels, masters, and spirit help bring them through this session, their higher self as well through this session. Have a conversation and get me the information I need so I can be as accurate as possible in helping this person on their path and help me guide them in the right direction. And I always say, I cannot do this without you because that's the God's honest truth. And then I thank them. And so that kind of sets me in the space to to start a reading. And it really is wild because when I do it, I can feel, even right now when I said it, it's like I felt something connect inside.
So what are some of the classes you also teach?
So classes, I teach hydromancy. I can teach people how to read through water, which is really an interesting class because it really shows how we're all connected in that class. When we all sit and get in the same space and do our meditation and get into that class, we all tend to be on the same wavelength, same frequency, which is pretty amazing all in itself. I also teach a tarot course, which would be about a 6-week-long course on how to read the cards from the major arcanas to the pips and what they all mean. It's more of a textbook style course. And I teach how to do chakra balancing. So you can get certified in doing chakra balancing yourself. Instead of having to go somewhere and get chakra balancing done, you can actually become a chakra balancing practitioner in the course. That's a weekend course.
Okay.
Those are the 3 I focus mostly on.
So what would be some of the benefits that someone would receive taking these classes?
Well, certification you would get in the chakra balancing course. You would also get a certification in the tarot course. So from that point on, you are certified to read for people, and you are certified to balance the energy of people's chakras. And then the hydromancy course, I think that one is really, it's set to get you into a state of mind of not so black and white, kind of in the gray, kind of open to the messages that you get. It kind of helps you. I always say, if you have an imagination, you can do hydromancy, because it really is. It's just like pushing you to the side and opening yourself up to be able to channel the information through.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining me today, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time.
All right. You take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.